Welcome to Birch Tree Studios, the home of 1013 Publications. This is 40 Below Zero, an international show about chronic illness hosted by two guys with MS. I'm your co-host Nick, and with me as always is Terry. We're so glad all of our warriors and supporters are here with us, so let's get into it.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Not great, honestly. I mean, normally I'm like, I'm fine. And then we,
What's up?
you and I do this little back and forth before the guest starts, and we don't really get too into what we're dealing with.
Yeah. What's going on?
No, it's just I don't know if it's the sudden change in the weather, or I don't know, just how gray it is outside, or who knows, the cycle of the moon, whatever, but just in a not great, not super happy, upbeat mental state right now.
Okay.
Well, you know how it is. It comes in waves.
I know what you're saying. Everyone's different, bro.
Right. So
Yeah.
most of the time, I'm fine. I'm great.
Yeah.
Down for whatever. And like everybody, not every moment is super happy. Some of them are sad. And like I think we talked last show about how extreme my emotions are. So when I'm down, it hits hard, and I got to remind myself that it's not anything other than a symptom.
Yeah.
And it's not as bad as I think it is. But no, it was like, typically I wake up, I fire up YouTube, get my breakfast ready, and then I watch like everything from old episodes of Cops to, what did I watch today? Yeah, it was old episodes of Cops, quantum mechanics. I watch everything.
Yeah. So you feel like you're in a funk, right?
Yeah,
Like
I feel really down. And I know that's everybody. I know that it's not necessarily just an MS thing. And I know it's something I have been treated for in the past. And I have spoken with therapists in the past about, and, they've helped, and the medication helps. And and the herbal stuff helps. Just normal panic attacks and just existential crisis,
Do you believe panic attacks are when you think you're gonna die and you're like, I think I'm having a heart attack? Or can a panic attack just be almost like a tantrum?
Personally, it happens to me not necessarily with the idea of death. It's more of the out of control of whatever. The panic attacks hit when I start thinking about all these things in the future, and they start piling up, and then it feels like it's out of control, and then I feel like I have no control, and then I've never had control, and I will never have control, and then it just kind of goes on, and it just builds and builds and builds. So, and that's, you're quite literally, you're panicking, or I'm panicking, and sometimes about stuff that doesn't need to be panicked about because it's already handled or under control, or a plan is in place, or, and it's the same universally. It's the same stuff. You panic about money, you panic about health. They're just more in the forefront because not having the ability to generate more income in the fact of like overtime like I used to, it was an easy solution. If I needed more money, I just worked more and I got more money. Because between overtime, side jobs, and whatever, you make it work. But when you take that ability away, it gets pretty scary, and I've had to really adjust my lifestyle, because I forget who said it, but we were talking about it a little bit ago. It's easier to reduce the number of things we have.
Yeah.
So it's easier to have less stuff than it is to get more money.
Yeah. Okay. I don't remember who said that, but yeah. Okay.
So when you live within your means, if you can, you don't worry so much about finances. But when you're out of those parameters, when you're out, when you need more and you can't do it, then it gets pretty stressful pretty quick. So, and not that I'm in a tough spot, but definitely being on disability like we are, it doesn't make it easy. Um, I think there's a misconception that, disability is the road to easy money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
And that's not true. Um, it's it's not the cash cow everybody thinks it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
definitely if I was given a choice, I don't know too many people that would choose disability, not personally anyway.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just
Mm.
plus we're getting to that point where the nights are starting to get longer,
Yeah.
and I don't know
You're
if you're the kind of person who likes the night.
Oh my God, man. Yeah, I went through different phases. Now I do like the night. I like the winter, you know. But it's the same thing. It's I don't know. I just like to be on my own. I feel the more alone I am, the more I don't have external distractions.
Sure.
Like, yeah, I just my day alone is filled with my errands of staying above water. So when Nick comes into play and says, "Hey," I'm like, "Oh, what are you gonna do to distract me?" That my panic starts in that way. But panic attacks. When I think of death, I I get into this thinking of I don't want to depress anyone now, but almost like, I think what's gonna happen after, and it's just done. It's done. And no one can do anything about it. There's no one that can fix this problem. It's just done. And I go into that, man, and I know to stop and to think of something else because I can really drive myself crazy, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
It's definitely
I, so, what about the fact that if I don't know why I said I meant hold on. The I and a lot of people might mock me and laugh at me, but dude, there's an age that I hit the age. That's it. Hallucinogenics, uh, you name it. I'm having fun till the end.
I got
Okay,
you.
maybe I won't say 70. People are like 70 is too young. Fine. 80. Am I gonna make it to 80? 90? Dude, there's a number. And as soon as my doctor's like, now's the time. Thanks, buddy. I'm off to La La Land.
So so what's your number? Are you not
Bro,
you're not sharing?
it changes.
We can't start the countdown clock.
Sometimes it's like next year, sometimes 70, sometimes,
So
you know.
what would be your tipping point then? What could occur where you're like whatever age it is, you're like, yep, we're starting now. Because for some people it would be if I end up in a wheelchair or if I get diagnosed with a chronic illness, I'm just going to cut loose and screw everybody and I'm burning all my bridges and all that stuff. And I believe you and I have crossed that threshold already and we have not gone that route yet. So what do you think? What would it be for you where you're like, forget it. It's over. It's game on.
You know why this is bad? Because if I say something and somebody's going through that right now,
Oh, yeah.
they might be like, "Well, okay."
Yeah, but that might not be their tipping
I
point.
know, I know, I know. I'm in a wheelchair, so you're
Right.
right. Like someone's tipping point.
Someone could say if I end up in a wheelchair, if I lose my legs or if I lose my vision, you know.
I've mentioned this before. There's a guy on the third floor who has MS, but he's a lot worse.
Mhm.
He can't get out of his bed, dude. A lot worse. Like, and I'm thinking, man, he probably wants to end it, but he can't because he has
Mhm.
no power to even lift the phone.
Yeah.
So unless he tells someone and they listen. But anyway, um, I always say, and this might be wrong, but when I start to and I cannot clean myself,
Mm,
that's when I'm done. Because what is the point to
I
just
got you.
get entertained by looking at people and laughing at them as they change me? I don't know. But again, just like now I'm in a chair, I move on. I go see the next. So I mean that could happen. But
Good.
I don't know.
Yeah, and it's kind of a sliding scale of fear. And you're right, you don't know until you get to that point because when you get there, you might be like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. At least I can still do X, Y, and Z. And you might
Yeah.
be able to adjust, but you don't know. The fear of it is what's like, and I'm living that way with being full time in the chair. I'm
Yeah.
like, I think about that a lot. I mean, for as much of it as a tool as it is, and as much as I advocate using it, and as much as I do use it, I'm in the back of my mind is always like, don't get too comfortable because one day you might have no choice. So that's why I like talking with you as
Yeah.
often as we do, because I'm like, all right, it's not that bad. Because look at Terry, and I use you as the watermark, I guess, the high watermark.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
So
I'm
I
glad.
know I don't I know you don't like the word inspire, so I'm not going to use it, but I'm going to say that it has definitely made it easier for me to palate the idea of being in a wheelchair full time. So take that for what you want.
Being in a chair is cool. And sometimes I feel like I don't not deserve, but there's paraplegics that legit have no legs.
Right.
So sometimes, I feel guilty being in a chair, but being in a chair is cool. I like the image now. I'm okay with it. When I'm out and about, I know I'm not, I look good in a chair.
Yesterday, I was out at a extremely crowded farmer's market near my house,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's amazing how effortlessly you can move through that space because everybody just goes, oh, and then gets out of the way, which is nice, and I'm not saying I'm taking advantage. I definitely need to get around.
What about image in a chair? Because when I first got diagnosed, I was a bigger guy
Mm-hmm.
and I knew I was going to have problems eventually. I didn't know I was going to have problems, but I said, if I'm going to have problems, if I'm going to be in a chair, if I'm going to use a walker, I don't want to be this overweight guy who's sweating, who's like,
Yeah,
just
you want
doesn't
to be
look good.
fit.
It's almost like, oh man, I might have such a jaded look on this, but people want to help a attractive looking person, not a slob.
Right.
So when I'm in a chair, I don't want someone to be like, can someone move this whale over here? I just that whole image, and maybe it's the way I was brought up, my family. I feel always like we're
Yeah,
judging. But
probably.
so,
My image, I don't know. I feel younger and more energized than when I'm walking, especially when I'm using the crutches. When I'm using the crutches, um, earlier earlier this week before the rain arrived, I actually walked a mile with the crutches, and I was dragging. By the end of it, I was basically holding myself up with my arms and barely having my feet on the ground, and they were kind of like dragging behind me and sliding. So it wasn't safe
were you
to be.
alone?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Um, and it was flat. It was a half mile
Yeah.
there and back. Um, but I didn't like. I feel older and more disabled when I'm using my cane and my crutches because I feel like I have more energy. I can get places faster. I don't get as tired.
When you use crutches, both your arms are taken. They're
Correct.
occupied.
Yep.
You can't hold a coffee. You can't hold
Nope.
paper. You can't hold.
Nope.
And then when you go somewhere, you put it to the side, and sometimes it falls down and makes a clunk noise, and everyone looks like,
That
"Oops,
happens a lot. Yeah.
sorry, sorry." Yeah,
So with the crutches, they're yeah, they tip over all the
yeah,
time.
yeah. I remember those days.
Because it's not the steel hospital under the armpit crutch. It's the with the cuff with the hand plant,
Oh, okay.
those kind of crutches. Like
Yeah.
so they fall over a lot when I lean them up somewhere because they're off
Ha-
balance to begin with.
Have you watched There's Something About Mary?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the pizza delivery guy who is in crutches? Is it those kind of crutches?
No.
Sorry. Okay. Crutches look cool usually. They have the padding at the top, the padding where your hands go. Okay. I used my cane as a crutch. Like I kept it, I used it to keep me standing up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So every walk, it was my whole body weight against the crutch, the cane. And I'm pretty sure that's not good for my shoulder. I'm pretty sure, that I should have been using a walker if I wanted to put my body weight on, which you're not supposed to do because the walker is for balance,
Right.
not to keep you up. If you want to stay up, you got,
And that's why I was using the crutches wrong the other day. I was using them to stay up and not for balance. But that was towards the end of the exercise.
yeah,
Um, and that was good to remind myself that I could still do it. But in the other hand, I probably shouldn't have done the full mile because I super stressed myself out physically.
yeah, that's a
Yeah,
wild, that's like a kilometer and a half.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's not good. I shouldn't, everybody says don't push it, but I pushed it.
Yeah. You'll just be tired after, you know.
Yeah. So my eyes still paying the price. Like I was strained, I was stressed. And that's probably, honestly, it's probably why my mood is down because you add all those things and you add fatigue into it. And I piled it on myself.
Yeah.
So,
There was a time when I was getting the Avonex injections,
mhm.
and um, the person that was giving it to me at the time, and I was already paranoid, not paranoid, anxiety from the injection. The fact that it wasn't a nurse giving it to me, it was all going through my head. And there was one time and this injection, if anyone takes Avonex, this is what they told her to do. When you put it in the muscle, you got to pull just a little bit just to see if it's connected. So you see a little bit of blood and then you push the injection in. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me,
Yeah.
but
The the medical term is called flash. They want to see a flash of blood, which
oh,
means it's where it's supposed to be.
okay. Well, oh, that's right. You have history with um so yeah, she wanted to see this flash
Hmm.
of blood, I guess. Anyway, so when she did it, the second she put the needle in, she said, "Oh shit." And I can't see what's happening, and I'm freaking out. And as soon as she said, "Yo, shit," my left eye went.
Really?
And you just reminded me of this because I don't have any problems with optic neuritis. I'm sorry, I don't. And I know a lot of people have that as an MS thing, but I've had it before. Blotchiness, but it's gone
Hmm.
away. I'm sure with prednisone. So as soon as she did this and she said, "Oh shit," I just froze. I didn't even say what. I just froze, and my left eye went as in it went all blotchy. But you know, I'm sure if I was just this eye alone, I was have to see everything. It would be considered blind. Like it was gone.
Okay.
And not only that, but I heard a dishwasher go off. Almost that noise, that
Oh, you heard like a vibration kind of noise.
dude, I heard a dishwasher noise. And while I was like panicking, my eye, I said, "Did you start the dishwasher?" I was freaking out. I'm like, "You need to shut that dishwasher off." And she was like, "There's no dishwasher." And I knew I was like, that might have been a panic attack. I don't know. I don't go through panic attacks. I've heard all about them. I've heard how the heartbeats, they think they're going to die. They have to pull over. I've seen people go through it.
Hmm. Now, did you feel like your heart was racing
I don't
when this was
remember.
happening? Oh, Because if you were to tell me that you felt like your heart was racing and all those other symptoms, and I had to guess, and it's purely a guess, I would say that she hit a vein and not a
Oh,
muscle.
okay.
Because the the reason why you do an intermuscular is because the medication gets delivered to the muscle fiber and then diffuses out into your body from there. But if
Okay.
you hit the vein, it shoots through your whole system
Yeah.
much faster than it's supposed to, and it causes a whole bunch of gnarly stuff. That passes, it passes, but it's scary while you're in it.
I was okay. I think an hour later, I might have
Sure.
taken a nap or something, but
Yeah. It sounds like you hit a vein.
yeah,
Or
this is a long time ago, 12 years ago now. So
yep. Still
interesting.
scary. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it called intermuscular or intramuscular? I'm not
Mm.
correcting you. I just,
No,
I thought,
I think it's with the A,
okay. Intramuscular. Okay.
I think.
Cool.
Somebody will correct me. Send me an email.
Yeah.
Nick at 40below0.com.
Yeah. So we have that interesting guest coming up. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he, we don't have a set date, but it might be between Tuesday and Friday. It might be
Oh, okay.
because he's going to use the studio. I don't know. I didn't get a confirmation if it has to be Tuesday to Friday. I'm just guessing. And I think his studio is based out of New York. So one day you got to go to New York and check out his studio. I'm sure
Oh
he would
yeah.
love that. He's
Uh,
invited me there plenty of times. He's a cool guy.
what's his deal?
He is a host of the show that he started, and he hosts so many different disabilities,
Mm,
their lives, different, athletes, comedians.
okay.
So 3 years ago, I was going through this path of being a comedian, but it wasn't necessarily being a comedian. I was just liking this stupid, entertaining videos, making people laugh, smile. So people, I guess, gravitated towards me and said, "Oh, you're a comedian." I'm like, "Sure, yeah." And I went on his show. We talked about it, and it was cool. He's a really cool guy. So I haven't talked to him in a while. So I reached out to him, and he's excited. So
Awesome.
yeah, I can't wait for that. So I'll let you know. I'll update you with the dates
Yeah, and then we'll be able to do a big reveal on Instagram as to who he is and when we'll be available and all that fun stuff.
for sure. Yeah.
Mm.
So you have a birthday coming up?
Yeah, my actually it's a busy time coming up. It's my daughter is in a week. She's gonna be 20. Um
Wow.
Kit Kit's birthday is coming up on the 13th. She's gonna be not 20, but close.
That's right. She's a Libra, right?
She is.
Yeah, Libra. Yeah. Katrina's birthday is on the 4th, and then mine is on the 9th.
Dang.
So I'm like, I'll see what gift you get me before I get you a gift. Nah, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
You guys doing anything?
Um, yeah, like nothing
Oh, or is it a
special, special.
surprise?
I mean,
I was gonna
no,
say
no,
she's
no,
not gonna
no,
hear
no,
it on the show, right?
no,
Okay.
no, 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 no. But thanks. Yeah, that would have been no. We just we do our own thing. Restaurants,
Sure.
friends. Chuck E. Cheese. Have you heard of Chuck E. Cheese?
Chuck E. Cheese. Where a kid can be a Terry.
Yeah, we go there. We like to scout out the place, take a child or two.
Oh my goodness. Now
I'm
you're just getting
joking.
creepy.
I'm sorry. But yeah, that place still exists. That place
Sure.
still happening. Oh,
Sure.
weird. Okay. So yeah, that's it. My headache is still there. It's brutal.
I thought you were gonna call the doctor.
I did. I called so I have an appointment. Oh, I have an appointment coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I know what it is. I'm pretty sure I've nailed it down. Even my neuro physiotherapist checked it out. I'm pretty sure it's a muscle and it's a spasm that happens up here.
Okay.
Sometimes half the day nothing happens, and then at night or in the morning, it's I'm in agony, man. It's a thump right behind. It's like if I push it, I can almost stop it from happening, or I can ignite it from happening. Anyway, that's it. I take Advils and Tylenols. I hate taking that shit. I hate it because it
And you shouldn't be on it that long.
there's a week I didn't take it or anything. It's not
Mhm.
like I'm taking it, you know.
What does it do to you? You said you didn't like taking it.
It's just my bowels and bladder. That's all.
Yeah, that makes
Just
sense.
and it took me 2 years to get regular. I hate talking about this on here. Nobody wants to talk about regular, but everyone wants to talk about piss.
You know what though, Terry?
Yeah.
There are listeners of our show who are like scared to talk about that kind of stuff, and they look to you and I to make it normal.
Mm,
So by all means,
true that.
and I am sure that it was probably probably a super hard thing to deal with, not being regular and being in a chair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sure it's
Yeah.
very much something you think about when you take any new medication or eat any new anything. I'm sure it's something you think about a lot.
It's the first thing I blame if anything changes. But yes, yes, you're right.
So what steps can you take? What steps do you take to stave off the irregularity?
I just, I eat, it's almost like I eat the same thing all the time. I have a routine
Mm-hmm.
and I don't get sick of it. Like I'll have my oatmeal every morning. I'll just stay on routine.
I got you.
And it seems like, I know my body really well. And then as soon as I start, and then I just started taking the Advil because of the
Mm-hmm.
pain. And then within 3, 4 days, I'm like, yep, makes sense.
Okay.
It's just so obvious.
Now, are you like me? You're not really an adventurous eater when you go out. You're like you kind of eat the same thing no matter what restaurant you go to.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part. But there's times when I'm like, it's a nice restaurant or a nice place. I might look at the server and say, what's your favorite meal?
Oh.
And I'll actually do that. And if they say something like this, I'm like, let's just get let's just get this. But I'll always ask the server, it depends on the establishment.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have like five or six go-to choices that I look for at the menu.
Yeah, yeah,
And they're like, oh yeah, they'll have chicken and rice somewhere on this menu.
I hear you. It's like when I go to Taco Bell, I'm like, hey man, what's your favorite meal? No, okay.
And he's like, not here. We're talking about being regular, and that's
I'm
the
just joking.
establishment you bring up.
I'm just joking. Oh man, it's not Taco Bell, it's KFC. But no, no. Um, I haven't been to a KFC or a Taco Bell in years. But hey, I love Taco Bell. It's been years, but just because I think and I'm not, this might be bad, but every place there's a Taco Bell, it's
Mhm.
it's a ghetto area.
Mm,
I don't know why.
well, I can't say I know either.
Same with the KFC.
I can also say that I don't know the last time I was at either one of those.
Okay.
We make a lot of tacos at home,
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
but that's the other thing is with not having to be at work every day, there's a lot of homemade meals now,
Yeah.
and the other thing was like when COVID was going on, when the lockdowns were happening, it was like you have nowhere to be, so why not take the time? I
Yeah.
I kind of I kind of enjoy how much we eat at home. First of all, it's cheaper, obviously.
Yeah.
Second of all, it tastes exactly the way you want it.
Yeah. Yeah. You control it more.
Yeah.
I agree. We did the same thing and we go through the cookbook and say, what are we going to try now? And, you know, the same way, try different stuff. Yeah. Like, we use flour that's made like coconut flour, rice
Oh, okay.
flour, stuff like
Okay.
that. So we don't
Yeah, it's because of the
try to get away from the gluten.
celiac, right?
Yeah. I don't have celiac. No, no, we don't have celiac, but we're trying
Right.
to just, stay off gluten. Not religiously. Just, hey, let's just try. Try not eat meat as much, red meat,
Yeah.
just stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's very important that see, I wish that the nutritionist was part of the overall health team,
Yeah,
especially if you have some kind of chronic thing like we do.
yeah,
I wish there was a nutritional component where your primary doctor, your what do you call them, PCPs, I think. I
yeah.
wish they were like this. So we're gonna send you to this, and a nutritionist because they're
Okay,
they're finally getting on board with how important all that stuff is.
okay. By the way, tomorrow I'm seeing. I can never remember the name of it. I will get it in a second. But when you get diagnosed, they should have a list. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
here's your therapist, here's your nutritionist, here's your neurologist, here's your
I
hotline.
agree. I agree.
Oh, here's a friend because you're going to lose all your friends. So here's one friend to keep.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
I'm seeing it starts with a U. It's not a urologist. It might start with a U. I might be a little dummy here, but I'm going to go see one tomorrow. Um, and the neurologist never suggested it. A
Hmm.
friend suggested it, just like my neurophysiotherapist. I hope my neurologist never listens to this. I don't think he is, but
Hmm.
they should be telling me to go see this person, this person. I shouldn't have to advocate for myself. I know we all say advocate for yourself,
Right.
but give me a direction.
Yeah.
Give me
And especially with the state of medicine now, the big the big hospitals, the big hospital systems and the big, pharmaceutical companies, they all want you to be involved in the entire system anyway. So why not say, oh, these are all the people you can go to. You should go to all these people at least once.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like maybe not forever, but go get a nutrition plan. Go get a an exercise plan, stretching program, like all that.
yeah, yeah. And if you don't want to, this is what we suggest. Like, something.
Right.
Osteopath.
Oh, okay.
I don't even
For
know
your,
what they do. I won't lie to you.
it's for your bones.
Yeah, okay, now I know. Like I had to research it, but
Yep.
so osteopath. And some are saying an osteopath might even help this pain, you know.
It could. It could.
Anyway,
It
so I'm curious to see how that goes tomorrow.
how did you how did you get hooked up with that? Was that oh
So
you said your friend?
Tanya,
Oh, okay.
what's funny? She looked at me and goes, "Hey, do you see a neurophysiotherapist?" I'm like, "A neuro what?" It's a neurophysiotherapist. I'm like, and then she looked at my area and said, "Check this one out." I said, "Cool." So I called them up because I'm like, it doesn't hurt, man. So I called them up, made an appointment. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And when I saw my neurologist, I told my neurologist, hey, we made an appointment to this physiotherapist, neurophysiotherapist. They were like, oh, great. You're doing a good job. So I'm like, oh, okay, okay. I patted myself on the back. And then he goes, which one? Which one? I said, this one right here. He's like, oh my God. That's the one I would have recommended you to as well.
I think you told me that. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably did. I probably
Yeah.
sold this to 100 people. And I'm like, well, thanks, man. Like, thanks. But, anyway, so the same Tanya is like, by the way, do you see an osteopath? I'm like, shut your mouth. Leave me alone. Don't do this to me now. And I ignored her. And the next day I was at the rock climbing.
Right.
And one of the ladies there says, Terry, you need to see an osteopath. Here's a number to the lady I see. She's amazing. I'm like, you know what? It's a sign. So I took the number and I called the next day and I made an appointment. And I'm like, Tanya, thanks. You happy? Am I supposed to buy you coffees now? She's really cool. Like we help each other. Like everybody helps each other in the
But
community.
yeah.
So
An osteopath, huh?
once again, nobody in my medical team suggested it. And I'll do anything, man. I say urologist, osteopath, neurologist, optometrist, somethingist.
Oh, okay. So
I
I had
think
to look it up
somethingist.
because I didn't know what they did. I mean, I've heard of the osteo. I've heard of that component to the word, but I looked it up and it says they treat medical disorders through manipulation and massage of the bones, joints, and muscles. So it's like a super specialized massage therapist, apparently.
It sounds like a Cairo, but it's not.
Right, right. Huh.
Mhm.
I just learned something.
Cool. I'll let you know how it goes.
Shit, maybe I'll go to, yeah, if it goes well, I'll go to one.
Yeah, you should come down here to London, Ontario.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I'll hop on my scooter. I'll be right there. Should only take me a couple days. No problem. Get on my little jazzy.
Small regular coffee, please.
It's from Tim
What? You were gonna
from Tim
say it.
Hortons.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
After I cross the border, I'm right there. Don't worry about it.
We don't say Tim Hortons. We say Timmy's.
Oh, okay. Well, now Timmy's. Okay. Oh my God. That makes sense. We don't say, well, we call it Wawa is also known as the goose. So
Okay. Okay.
similar. It's just a except it's not a dedicated coffee spot. It's actually a gas station that
I've
has a
never
real
heard
that has decent food, kind of.
I've never heard of that before.
Hmm.
The Dunkin' Donuts is not big anymore?
Oh, it is. I just don't go there.
Okay.
I don't like their stuff.
Okay. Do you guys say let's go to Dunkin' Donuts or is it like let's go to Dunkin's?
Dunkin',
Oh wait, okay.
yeah,
In the
or
Middle East,
double D.
I went to a Blimpies, double D. That's funny. So what else, man? It's on the list. Today's Sunday, September. October 2nd is my brother's birthday. October 9 is mine. I don't know if we're gonna put this up.
You never know.
I got nothing.
Let's see.
We're
Let's
gonna
see.
try to bake some cookies
Yeah,
medicinal for the first time.
really?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
What
Katrina really wants to. She's like, yeah, we should try. And she doesn't even do this stuff. She doesn't eat it. It's nothing, right?
mhm.
So it's funny because she's like, yeah, let's try it. It might help you. So supportive, man.
What's your go-to cookie? What are you making? Chocolate chips? You standard?
Chocolate chip or peanut butter?
Okay.
Peanut butter cookies. Yeah, that's it. Did you see the page for um the host of Disabilities Redefined with
Mm-mm.
Dr. Vanier? I don't even know if I say it right. Vanier.
No, I did see the news that there's a new drug that apparently is doing better than Aubagio in reducing relapse.
What
So
drug is that?
it's called UBLITUXimab.
Got
Ublituximab.
got it.
Ublituximab. I don't know.
Yeah, got it.
And it says it is better than the existing treatments of Aubagio at reducing relapses. So therein lies the big question that we've talked about from time to time. Uh, would you take the cure when they find it?
Why wouldn't I?
Exactly.
Okay. Why wouldn't I? Yeah. I mean, what if I can get cured, but keep playing that I need help?
I don't think that's how it works. I think, Terry, I think if you get cured, I think everyone in the world is going to know it. I don't think there's going to be anywhere to hide from your own announcement.
They're gonna give me the cure and they say, "Did that work?" I'm like,
Mm.
no, no, didn't work. Still need my chair. No, obviously, I would take the cure, hands down.
Yeah, this is this was interesting. It says
It's not about the cure. It's about
mhm.
fixing my nerves, the nerve damage that has happened. Because even people who are doing stem cell, they are just resetting their body, but if they have any nerve damage, it doesn't fix it. That's what I thought it was. Are you ever thinking of doing stem cell?
Not for a while, not for a very long time.
Okay.
And it would have to have the same efficacy of the Ocrevus that I'm on now. So
Yeah.
if it's not that effective, it doesn't have the same numbers, I'm not going to take it. But if
Everyone
it's
has
a,
their own opinions. Yeah.
yeah, but I will also say that if it it scares me too much, man. It just scares me the whole process. I know there's people that have had success. I know there's people that have complications. It runs the gamut, but the whole time that you have to spend alone because of your immune system is gone, I don't know if I could handle that.
So I was really bitter with this stem cell because it's just, to me, it was, and I'm going to trigger people when I say stuff about it, like money, 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 money. They really pushed it, all this stuff. And I saw a lot of Instagram accounts pushing it. People like you, regular people, their whole Instagram account was about road to curing MS, road to stem cell. It was all
Mm-hmm.
about, so it's like they started an account and it was all about their stem cell journey.
Right.
And I get it, it's a journey, but I don't think, I know tons of people. I don't know one person that would do that. So I was convinced that it was a marketing scheme
Mm.
to push all these accounts. Don't me, man. There was all these accounts out there being
No, no,
like,
no.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I thought you were like, I
No,
don't know if
I'm
it was.
agreeing with you. Like, yeah,
And let's not start into the whole I'm not a conspiracist. But for real, I was convinced that these are marketing campaign. Not all of them. I'm sure there's one, two. So I would talk to them. I would go onto Instagram and ask them questions. How long did it take you? Because I was approved to do stem cell in Jordan because I was born there, and there's a hospital there. As long as you have a passport there, you can do it there. I'm not going to do it there,
mm,
first of all, and I'm not
okay.
going to do it at all. But I was convinced that there was people in that field pushing it, because it's expensive, it ain't cheap.
No, it's not.
It's like a mortgage in
It's an
Jordan.
out. Yeah, it's an outlier. It's not for everybody yet.
So I was just convinced, and I saw a few people, and it's been 2 years since he's done it, and I'm checking them out again. I'm like, what are you doing now? Where's all your posts now? Give us your marathon abilities.
Yeah,
Like, disappeared. Did you die? Like,
exactly.
you know. But I'm a skeptical guy.
Well, I think I am too, especially when you've been around the block for a couple of years with this and you've seen a couple of things come and go. And I think everyone starts to look at it going, uh-huh, we'll see. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I just
We'll see.
I think initially I had this whole like, oh well, let me check this out. Let me check that out. This is the best. This is the best. And then after a while, you're like, okay, not that much better than the last thing I just had. So then you get into this. How much better is it? Is it worth the risk?
Yeah.
You know, how am I doing on the medication that I'm taking? It's nice to revisit your treatment plan from time to time, but if it's working, just keep it rolling. You know what I mean?
They I have people in my life that will say, I'll say, hey, I take this medication. They'll be like, ooh, I don't know. I'm the kind of guy that doesn't like the medication. I almost feel like I'm getting shamed for taking medication. I don't like taking medication, but if it is evident that it works, I'm okay with it. If there was medication that was so bad for me, but it's making me run, like I'm back out and walking, I will take it.
And then you run into things like you're told you're told something and everyone's on board for this. Then new research comes out and says, well, it's not that great. Like I had just read in the MS Society of UK. They have on their head on their website that they just did a trial that showed no effect of high dose vitamin C or vitamin D. And everybody, everybody hails the high dose vitamin C. I've heard it a lot. I personally do not take it. I'm not against anybody that takes it and it works. I'm sure it works for some people, but now then to confuse us even more, confuse things further, they have they do a study in the UK and it finds that there is no difference in the number of participants that experience a relapse between high and low doses of vitamin D. So there's no difference in the number of lesions, brain shrinkage. So it's like, well, what do you do then? I mean, now that was a phase 2 trial, so it's not, the end all be all. There's still a whole lot of work to go, but
That's why I don't say my opinion. Vitamin D, I do take it, but
mhm,
just because I'm like, it's like drinking water.
right.
Drink my water. Here's my vitamins. But I stopped vitamin D for 3 years because I was taking a lot. I stopped taking for 3 years, dude. No difference. You know what the difference is? I didn't have to spend $20 every month buying that. But
Yeah,
same with magnesium, same with vitamin B. I take it all. I don't know if it doesn't give me any more energy, but I take it just for the placebo effect.
sure.
And so when someone says, "Do you take vitamin D?" Yeah. Yes, yes, I do. I'm trying to take care of my body.
So speaking of vitamins, there it really kind of gives me pause and makes me question things when a doctor recommends that I take something and then I look at that bottle, like vitamins, and I look at the bottle and the bottle says these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration to do any of the things the bottle says. So it's like your professional medical opinion is take this thing which other researchers say probably doesn't do what it's supposed to do, but you're going to buy it anyway.
I've never seen that before. That's funny.
Yeah.
You guys had a drug called ephedrine. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
We couldn't get it in Canada. I remember that. And I'm like, it was to give you energy or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's different shit in the States, different than here. And a lot of people would go to the States, cross the borders to get stuff that wouldn't be able to get here. Like vitamin D in the States, you can get vitamin D that's like 10,000 in dosage, where here
Mm-hmm.
it's maximum 5 or 1, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's vitamins, minerals, herbs, and other dietary supplements are not FDA approved to treat or prevent these diseases. But your doctor is saying you should take these. So
Yeah.
who do you listen to?
Yeah.
The guy who went to med school for 20 years or the government?
Man. My neurologist says, "How much are you taking vitamin D?" I say 5,000. And he goes, "Okay." I say, "Which should I take?" "Yeah, just continue on that."
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. That is weird, man.
So yeah, that's where I'm at with things. It's not
Yeah. What about vitamin D3? You see that?
I don't know the difference.
What do you mean, man? It's vitamin D to the power of three.
Three times the vitamin D per
I don't
pill.
know. It is weird.
So that's why you can't beat yourself up because nobody, not that nobody knows, it's just that there's a lot of unknowns out there still. So, and that takes us back to the original, like, what are you panicking about? Well, I'm panicking about all the stuff I can't control because of all the stuff I don't know.
So does that make you a control freak?
Not a control freak. I think it's when you live under something that you don't know the timer, you don't know when it's going to blow up, so to speak. Then you constantly live in this panic slash stress slash, high anxiety state of being for who knows how long. Because even when you get to the next progression milestone, then you just panic again because something else happened, something new happened.
Yep. Sounds right.
That's why all those holistic things like meditations and, Zen and listening to the Hertz music, like the 435 Hertz music and all the chanting and all that new age stuff. That's why it's kind of, it has its place.
Yeah.
Is it effective as pharmaceuticals? I don't know. But if it helps and it doesn't hurt anybody or yourself, I'm all for it. I do it all the time. I have to. And I say I have to in the sense that if I don't, I don't feel right. I don't feel like have any sense of control. So
I think I'm a control freak. I like control. And
I can
not
see that.
in a way where like, hey, you sit down here. Maybe.
Oh, you like your world to be neat and orderly.
Yeah, I've said it before. It's, I like my routine.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I would say there's nothing wrong with that, as long as if you have to break your routine, it doesn't send you into a spiral you can't recover from.
You're right.
So as long as you're just comfortable in your routine and you're stable and you're feeling okay and it's not causing you stress, that's fine. But if something happens and you're out of your routine and you just lose it and you can't come back, then that's not okay.
You're right. I think it's healthier to change it up a bit here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm the same way. I prefer to have a routine. I prefer to have my day planned out because it helps me plan. What do I have to bring? Where am I going? What could I face?
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it changes, I'm not too beat up about that.
I think it'll be good to have a show with our caregiver / other half. I think it'll be a great show because
I'm envisioning a long show.
Okay.
I think they have a lot of things to talk about us.
It'll be funny.
Entertaining. What it's like to be our caregivers. Because we are not old. So when you think about caregiver, you think about there's a certain, picture I get in my mind. Mm-hmm. But in reality, it's anybody who takes care of anybody else. Right. So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear them talk about us while we're sitting right next to them like we're not.
Yes, it is. It'll be interesting.
And that's coming up in 2 weeks, right?
The 8th. We're going to interview them on the 8th.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the second week of October, because we're taking next week off.
11th, it'll be out.
Yeah. So we're taking next week off.
Yeah.
Because I have family things.
Sounds good. You have family?
And then,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if anybody who's listening to the show longer than an hour knows about my family.
Yeah.
So yeah, then we'll be back on the 11th with with the show back then. So Thanks everybody for sticking through this entire episode. I know it was not positive and upbeat for the entire thing, but thank you anyway for listening. I hope it helped. The resources we have available should you need to talk to somebody. But just hang in there.
Awesome. All right.
All right, Terry. Talk to you soon, brother.
Talk to you soon, man. So check us out at 40belowzero.com. That's 4T-below-zero.com. Or feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Our email address is info@40belowzero.com. Our personal Instagram account are, for Nix, it's Nix_V713. Or for Terry, it's What's _MS. Awesome. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. We'll talk soon.